We'll have to see how that comes out. Plus, border should be, well, that should be pretty interesting. So, as you see, Timber chose border, but at the same time, Vex chose to start on defense there, which isn't
Uh,
something you really see a lot.
Yeah, and
So,
we're gonna be getting into coastline now. So for this first ban, I'm expecting sometimes you'll actually see a nomad ban on this map more because it just gives you a lot more flexibility to do those aggressive runouts. So that could be something that we'll see.
yeah, I fully expect a Nomad Ying as well.
Yeah,
Ying is
Ying
very
dropped
strong.
after those recent buffs.
Yeah, in general, both in the meta and on coastline, she's definitely seen a lot more play. She's a very strong operator, and she's doing really well. And well, like you said, if he wasn't banned, we would probably see the Capitao.
But there he
But
goes. Yeah.
yeah, there he goes. He's
So
very strong, especially with setting up. I can only think, well, not only, but I know his strongest site, I would have to say, is hookah billiards, just because he sets up
hmm,
so much of the site and negates a lot of positions like pink couch and the aqua balk or the aqua bar thing.
yeah.
But
So we're gonna
yeah.
see the echo dropped as well, which means the attackers won't have to bring an IQ for that anti-plant. Obviously, the defenders could also bring a Valkyrie, which would, you know, force the attackers into the pick of IQ unless they want being run out on every round. For this last ban, I'm expecting someone like a Mirror. Yeah, there we go. Mirror is just that operator that you don't really want to go up against. She's a massive pain because obviously it's
Yeah.
steel wall that you can't see through, but the enemies can.
And the thing is, I know, I mean, even myself, I'm pretty adamant that Mira doesn't need as much attention as she sometimes sees.
Mm,
But at the same time, it can be not necessarily tilting, but so confusing to work around if a team has like a very niche Mira strat. Um,
yeah,
or like something just like it may not even be extremely strong. It's just the concept of having to push, like you said, into a sight line where you can't see the defender, but they can see you the whole way. Like that really just can throw off a lot of
yeah.
teams.
It's honestly at the end of the day, it's quite scary to be honest. Walking into a black bar that the enemies can see through, but you can't.
Hmm.
So for our first site, we're going to see the defense of hookah billiards. Like you said, this is a site where Capital is honestly quite useful, and the defenders will be bringing that Valkyrie, which is probably why Yeska has picked the IQ.
Yeah, I'd say all in all, I mean the only surprising attacker pick is the lion, but at the same time, that's just in place of a hard breach spot, just
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's really, aside from that, that's a very common for attackers nowadays. You bring
Yep,
IQ often just because it really helps to deal with Valkyries that keep getting picked. A lot of
and there's
mute play, and yeah,
Dowie will
everything else is
be
just so strong.
is this could be an aggressive play from Dowie, but nobody appears to have spawned there. He will just back off now, saving his life. And that is a wasted Valkyrie camera.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best Valkyrie camera. Obviously, I think wasted might be a little bit too much, but it's definitely far less useful than any of his either of his other cameras really. So
Yeah,
we'll have to
I
see if
agree.
it can get any pressure, but I think the way this tech is looking like it's shaping up here from Timber, it's not going to at all.
Yeah, it's a very focused on VIP and penthouse. I think this is almost every player who appears to be on this side of the map. Carl Rogers is going to be pushing that VIP hallway towards these main stairs. So the way that Vex have currently set up their defense, they're not trying to hold on to this VIP penthouse side of the map. You see that they have two defenders down below. So maybe we'll see some C4 play come out later in the round or even now. But I think the IQ is going to be attempting to stop that.
Yeah, it really seems like, in a sense, it could be very retake focused too from Vexed, but like you said, C4 play from below and only nothing was gained from that one. I think from Dowie, he missed out on that. So that's not gonna net them anything for Vexed as this attack is going pretty cautiously here
Yeah,
from
we're not seeing
Timbers.
any gunfights so far. The only thing that I will notice is Harris has taken a slight bit of damage. That's probably from either a goo maybe or a goo. What am I about? Probably a rogue shot through a window. Timber are going to be lining up to take this aqua side, potentially for that default billiards plant behind the bomb.
Yeah, so this last 45 seconds is going to be really huge, especially considering we're getting no action until just now.
It's
Harris is going to
probably
start to get pressured, but nothing's going to come of it. Brainless is the first one to take a little bit more damage.
yeah.
And I mean, we're just
We dropped
really
40
coming in here
HP.
for a big crunch.
Yeah, big bloodbath about to happen in billiards, and we're going to see one peek around, and that's dropped through the floor. Josh going to pick up two onto Carl as well. That's a Sophia, and Dowie picks up Valba. 2v5 for and Vex one around. Just like that.
Yeah, like you said, just like that, rehost is called. And it's a flawless round, I think, actually, from Vexed.
Yeah.
Huge turnabout here from them as they really make that round look pretty easy. And something to note too is the last time at least that I seen them, they did take Coastline 7-1 against can't remember who, but they definitely showed up to be very dominant on this map.
Yeah. And I think if we talk about the favourites in this matchup, Vex are a team, obviously, with lots of previous experience at a high level of playing. And obviously, even in this league, they are currently sitting in that number one spot, while Timber are slightly further down the table.
Yeah, and that's something big to note too. Um, this is Timber is really looking for this game to try and break into that top six, top half of the table. And right now, Vex is hoping that. So the reason the table looks a little weird, if you saw it on the Twitter, is because the teams that have 10 games played is because it's the regnant games got
Yeah.
forfeited. So some teams are ahead of others, and I think because of that, um,
Oh, yeah.
it's I think it's because of that
Yeah,
that
Vex have actually dropped into that number
Vexed
two
is
slot.
second. Yeah,
Yeah.
but still, they're real. This is they're looking for these two wins on Coastline and Border here to try and get back into first place and hoping that they can jump revenge for that first place spot where, like I said, I mean, Timber is fighting for any points they can get here, and it's really an uphill climb. They're in
Yeah.
seventh, I believe, and they have to
It's
try
not an
and
easy
take.
matchup for
Yeah.
them, especially knowing I think there's even a scare factor that we have to talk about when going up against a team like Vexed. Obviously, a team with so much experience, and they know about all of this experience coming in, and they know that they're not the favorites.
And I think even then you could see it a bit in that last round. We saw no action until the last 35 seconds, and there wasn't a ton of ground gained by Timber on the attack. And they kind of just all ended up suicide pushing into Vex there, and it was flawless, a easy sweep and cleanup for Vex. And no one was downstairs clearing out Josh Glitch. No one was really taking down Maestro cams until the last 45, 30 seconds. No one was the IQ of Iska wasn't really hunting actively for any utility from the defense. So it was in general just a very cautious attack, and I
Yeah,
guess I think that goes towards your point that it looked like they were just scared
Yeah,
of them.
the fact that they can be afraid of taking those gunfights will play a lot on their minds when they're peaking angles, knowing that or having that fear that they're just going to have their heads taken off every time they peak. It's going to be something that makes them play a lot more passive, and I don't think that that round is going to help them going into the rest of this game.
Mhm. So, we'll have to see, how that shapes up after our rehost that we're slowly getting through as, we're trying to get Vexed in on the rest of this, but yeah, if I'm trying to remember, hold on. What's our schedule looking like? Give me 1 second for tomorrow. Because I'm trying to figure out who Revenge plays. Because Audacity is playing similarly a similar matchup. They're playing the eighth ranked team of or eighth place team of UX
Mm.
as so in reality, it's a very uphill battle for UX and Timber today as they're trying to get points, whereas both Audacity and Vexed are going to be trying to solidify their spots. Vexed is just 2 points ahead of Audacity. Um,
Something else I'd
so
like to
yeah.
mention, if we look at these past two teams' performances on Coastline, um, Timber's first performance in the league on Coastline was against Lucendi, where they lost 7-1 on Coastline.
Oof.
Yeah, and equally for Vexed, it was winning 7-1 against London.
Yeah, that was the one. I remember that. That was crazy too. They beat London 7-1 and then lost 1 to
Yeah,
7 on
shocking.
Cafe. So, definitely a very shocking loss and very crazy, but um yeah, they just it's already looking kinda scary in a way for London here because
Timber here.
obviously it or Timber, my bad. Wow,
No
wrong
worries.
team. But yeah, it's looking a little scary because it's tough to make this judgment off of one round, obviously.
Yeah,
But if you're losing a coastline defense or a coastline attack flawlessly, it's
it's
that's
gonna
just really
it's gonna play on
doesn't
their
bode well.
minds. And I
Because I
think
mean,
going into the
yeah.
rest of this game, they're gonna be really careful that they don't let it get away from them. They don't let Vex begin to pick up all of these consecutive rounds because I think that's a real worry that we'll
Mhm.
just start see to Vex dominate if Timber let them.
Yeah. And I think the thing to note too about that 7-1 win that Vex had back on Coastline all those weeks ago, I think week 1, um, they started on attack and went 5-1 in that first half on attack. So,
Hugely impressive.
yeah, it's to really already start giving up defensive rounds or your own attack rounds against a team that started out 5-1 on attack really doesn't bode well at all
Yeah, it
for
doesn't.
for Timber. Gosh, I keep forgetting for whatever reason.
If we actually look at these two teams' performances previously, when Timber played Audacity, they actually looked like they were better on the defense than on the attack. They won 3 defensive rounds against Audacity, and they only won 2 attacking rounds, which is obviously quite shocking for the map. But that could show when they get to their defensive half that they are slightly better on that half.
Yeah. So, well, really gonna have to see how it all works out here.
Just waiting on this rehost
But
still.
yeah, um, that was loud. Um, so is there anything you're really looking forward to in between these two teams coming out for the rest of Coastline?
Uh, I
Specifically, like I would say, what do you think Vex has to do to absolutely shut out this Matt?
I think what Vex have to do is make sure that they just keep Timber down, because if they allow Timber to get a couple opening kills, I think it will click with Timber. You know, these guys, they're not unkillable. They're good, but they're not unkillable. And I think they have to be careful that they don't give up those couple easy kills and let Timber get their confidence back. And at the same time, if if we start to see a couple spawn peaks coming out from Vex, I think it will really, really just shut Timber completely down.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, on the other side of things, I think, Vexed needs to or, not Vexed, Timber needs to, just not play so cautiously. I think the other side of things for Timber is that these guys aren't these guys are killable. They're not,
Yeah,
some big I think that's what you were mentioning. They're not these big monsters that you have to be terrified of. They're players on the same server as you, and I think once you can really get past it, it should I wouldn't say it should be a breeze. I do think it is definitely an uphill battle for Timber, but it's, a much more surmountable mountain than what they currently are making it out to be for themselves.
yeah. I think
And
it's
yeah.
just the thing that I want to see from Timber going into these next few rounds is I just want to see that confidence because we know that Timber are a good team. They proved it, for example, against Revenge GG, who are currently top of the league. They beat them 7-2. These guys, they're good. We just need to start seeing that confidence come out from them and really start seeing them play like we know they can.
Mhm. Yeah. It's not at all like they can't beat these teams or that they can't just like they're not gonna struggle really. They can definitely like just come out swinging and not be fearful of Vex. I think that is, as much as I'm harping on it, that is the key point here for that's the key point here for Timber as much as we stress it and keep talking about it.
Mm,
But at the same time, I mean, it's been said before that Vexed is not really to say they're not taking this seriously is wrong, but it's
mm.
also not their main focus league.
Of
So
course, yeah.
they're you know
We're
um
seeing a little bit less prep come out from them in comparison
yeah,
to some of the other teams.
I think that's a really big thing here for Timber. If they can just execute on Vex being lackadaisical at any point or just lazy on these things and taking things carefree, um I really do think they can keep up because they I mean, yeah, again, they've shown, that they can beat these top teams. If that's probably also, not a revenge team that was lacking on anything. They probably weren't aloof or messing around. Um, it's
I think
just,
another thing to
yeah.
mention, it's not just revenge. They did also take Budapest 5 down across both maps.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so this is a team that if Vex are caught sleeping, if Vex are caught with their pants down, I think we really could see a comeback start to come from Timber. But I think it's important to remember that Timber just need to start playing with this confidence. Like I said, and I know I keep iterating it, but I think that that's so important for Timber right now.
Mhm. So, um, yeah, I mean,
This is one hell of a
we're
rehost,
currently
isn't it?
yeah, we're currently waiting for one player who's having some lobby issues right now, but, we're
Good
trying
old,
to
good old you
get
play.
that all sorted out. Um, but yeah,
Uh,
it's
if we want to talk a little bit actually about Border next, so for Timber on Border, their current record on Border is actually pretty good. If I just check here, the map that they beat Revenge on was Border. They won 7-2, which is hugely impressive. And then they beat Budapest 5 on Border 7-3. So I think Border is undefeated for Timber right now. They haven't lost it in the league. So I
hmm.
think that that's a map where we could really see their skill come out against Vex. If I look at Vex current performance on Border,
Yeah. And that's definitely an interesting one. Especially looking forward to it. Vex chose to start on defense, so it could be that they're working to prepare their defense rather than take what has become the preferred side of attack and uh potentially lock that one out. But for sure, it's really a risky map here, I guess, for Vex
So
as
Vexed have played Border. They played against UX Gaming, where they won 7-3.
okay.
We will finally be going into this map
Oh yeah.
again. Here we go.
Yeah, part 2. So, like, if you're just tuning in at some point, we're having some internet issues from one of the players on Timber, but we've gotten that all sorted out here as we are going well now. So,
So we're going to see an
yeah.
interesting strategy coming out from Vex. They're going to be going to Kitchen with an Alibi. Um, Alibi is an operator that doesn't see a massive amount of play. She can be useful for gathering intel because obviously Alibi herself can see her prisoners through walls. She can see if one of them gets destroyed, and obviously if they're shot at or walked through, she gets the red ping. So an operator that definitely can be used well and is dangerous in the right hands because of that fantastic gun. But operator that hasn't got as much utility as, let's say, a smoke or a mirror.
Yeah, especially nowadays, you don't really see a lot of alibi play. Uh it's often not seen. I would say before this whole 20-second meta came out, um, there was a bit more alibi play, or at least the meta was a lot more willing for alibi play. But um, yeah, nowadays you really want the stall. Oftentimes, you really want a lot of Jaeger, Wamai, mute, like you said, smoke. Um,
Wow, these servers
it's
are
just,
they're
oh,
dying
dude,
today.
yeah,
They're
this is
already
just
dying. Oh dear. What a way to get in. Um, the Valkyrie as well. So Valkyrie is obviously that operator that I said is forcing Timber currently into bringing that IQ, and I think it's actually quite a scary operator because you don't always know when the enemy has info on you when a Valkyrie is on the board. Um, so they could have cams anywhere, and you won't necessarily know about it. These lobbies are really getting worse. Doc, obviously, an operator that can be used to spawn peek. He's one of the most iconic spawn peeking operators in the game with that MP5 ACOG.
yeah, it's definitely an aggressive pick here from Dowie. Um, showing both mute and vigil, Timber definitely might not be expecting at all the dock spawn or the dock switch, just because those two operators are used so often, as well as Mozzie, which we finally haven't seen a lot of since the nerf. But finally, loading back in.
We will be back in. And so we're going to be seeing a kitchen defense coming out here from Vex. It's a strange one because of those operator picks.
Yeah, it's definitely very odd. Uh, but we'll see how they make it work. Vex is choosing a lot of aggressive operators these
Hmm.
last few rounds.
And we're going to see
Um, but
Dowie on this cam
ooh,
here.
he's definitely looking for something.
Again, I think he's going to have the misfortune of nobody spawning here, though. And he will just back off.
Yeah, so I mean in general this is not really no really other way to explain it other than it's looking like a what do you call it? A ranked lineup as now the Doc is going to get aggressive, not be able to find anything except about half of Exile's health, and
Yep.
he's going to have to fall back thereafter. Yeah, at least he's going to heal himself up, so his damage is done, but not netting the kill, especially onto the Lion, is very huge.
Yeah, the Lion staying up is a frustrating operator, but Useless will go down there to uh
Brainless.
Brainless, yeah.
Yeah, at least it was refragged thereafter with one onto Josh as well. So Timber here is in the advantage, and this is kind of what we were talking about before. We really wanted to see this aggression come back out from Timber and not really play afraid of Vexed, even if Vex is getting aggressive. And because of that, Timber is getting a lot of ground control upstairs here
Yep,
and
there's definitely the
really
potential for
controlling it.
that vertical play, which obviously vertical play can change a map. It changes how the site is played, and it can be a real issue for these defenders. We're going to see
Oof.
Carl Roger go in. He's going to find one, and he's going to get refragged, though, by the Vigil.
No, actually, it's just now a 1v3, at least 1v2, but
Oh, and there
that
you
was
go
a
again.
huge lockout there by Vexed, actually. They lost one for the 4 attackers in the end of things. So I think that was just Timber getting too aggressive, if anything, when they didn't need to be.
Yeah, I think this free host has given them a chance to think about what went wrong that first round, and I think maybe even talking to their coach, they can see, we're going way too slowly right now, guys. We need to speed up. But maybe that's gone into their heads and they're just going full head first, eyes closed.
Yes, so double bars set up this time around here for Vexed should be very interesting alongside a Cav pick. So they are really going all in on these ranked setups here, as Cav is not at all an operator that we see in competitive.
No, Cav never seen in competitive. I mean, she literally brings nothing to the table that any other operator can. The only thing that you can say for Cav is she's Cav. No one else has the silent step ability and nobody else can interrogate, and that's something that a lot of attackers sometimes can overlook. For example, if we look when Eunice used it, I believe it was at the Paris Major, he
Yeah,
managed to
Paris
get an
2018.
interrogation. So Cav, not a great pick, not the worst pick. We're going to
Yeah,
see Pat going for an aggressive peek here. Doesn't look like anybody spawned again where he wanted them to. And he's going to appear. Yep, he will have missed out again. These spawn peaks that Vex are trying are just currently not working out.
yeah, it's really not so far, but it's really now on Timber once again. They've gotten a lot of kitchen control here. The first Lion EE1D is going to come down as Timber is working to push into the site. Harris is going to be the first target here, taking half his health, but Carl Rogers down as well. So there's a lot of pushback here coming out from Vexed as they're looking to make something
Yeah.
happen. And it's the first frag from Josh, and I see
Oh,
4 onto Brainless as he hunting for more. Can't get it, though.
we're going to
And
see him go
Pat
down.
as well.
Yeah. Some very early gunplay coming out this round between Vex and Timber. The almost exact opposite of what we saw in that first round.
Yeah, so the attackers are in not a terrible spot, but obviously not the best here. But, I mean, we keep going back to it. This is more of what we wanted to see from Vex. They keep getting into early on gunfights, and they are doing well to refrag these gunfights as well. It's just they're also losing out a good bit. Yuzus is still trying to be as obnoxious as possible upstairs. He's used his impacts on the ground to create some sight lines and just create pressure, but it's going to be found out by the initial drone, and he's just trying to be as much of a pest really as possible, be as much of a thorn in the side of Timber here, but he doesn't really need to do a ton. Harris able to pick up another onto Iska.
Yeah. Oh, and we're seeing it's just the Cav. Harris has been downed. Unlikely in this situation that users will be able to find his teammates, pick him up, shots will fly out, but he will retreat back. It's a very exposed position for users if he wants to pick up Harris. The smoke canister, however, going to be helping him out. He will be able to make it a 2v2, and if we look at the HPs on Timber, Carl Rogers very low, but Valba gets taken down through the wall by the Cav. Carl Rogers will refrag onto users. Harris in the 1v1. Both players extremely low HP. The attacker has to find the defender, and Timber will take that first round. Round number 3.
Yeah, definitely a huge find. A really nice shot there by Carl Roger, able to take down the Caveira with that headshot.
Really significant play.
As yeah, getting users down there was the big part of that 1v2, as obviously the Cav was the full health operator, and both Carl Roger and Harris were on one hit. So it really worked out well there. As now back to Hookability as we go, and it's a good starting point here for Timber to try and bring this one all the way back. We're gonna see both Cav and Frost locked in here by Vex.
Whoa,
So
it's
they're
definitely interesting, isn't it? I think that's the word
yeah.
we can use. So the Cav, I think the argument here is, did it work last time? Is it why they lost last time? And in my opinion, the Cav, it didn't lose them the round, but it certainly didn't win them it. Obviously that huge pick through the wall onto Valba while he was planning was a fairly significant play by users. But if they can't recreate that, which I doubt they will be able to, the shotgun isn't even that useful on this site for plant denial. I think it's a wasted pick here.
I part of the problem too with the Cav is it's not necessary to sit there and say she isn't useful based on whether or not she gets um an interrogation or not,
Yeah,
but rather just how much time she soaks up. And in the end of things, she didn't really soak all that much time with the attackers hunting her down. They were able to fully focus on attacking the site there, and it didn't really hamper them.
no.
So,
One thing that I
definitely
will say,
a good
it
end.
does counter this Jackal. The Jackal's obviously going to be very difficult to find the Cav, because she hasn't got footprints like every other operator. But that,
Ooh.
this could be huge. He's going to find one, and that's the Jackal. Uses, that's a really significant play by him, and he's going to be pushing again with the shotgun out. Nomad taken down as well. What are we seeing here? User's going to find 2 for his trouble.
Yeah, so
Oh, and he might even find it. He will find the 3rd. This is unbelievable.
oh man. He's finally going to get shut down thankfully there, but all in all, I mean that's huge
He
from
has
that
single-handedly
for him.
shut this round down for Timber.
Yeah.
There's not a lot they can do to come back from this, and sure, they have the time, they have the guns, but 3 people dead at 1 minute 30 for only 1 kill of your own. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, it's really funny too, I think, that we were just talking about the usefulness of the Cav and what she can afford a team and how to stall. And yeah, that was well, that's one way. If you can even trade yourself for another attacking operator just because of how little the Cav provides for her team outside of just being a gun, that is monumental. To pick up 3 kills there, Yuzu's did amazing work, and all in all,
Now,
I mean, this round should just be locked out here
to
for
be fair,
Vexed.
I don't think any other operator could have pulled that off, purely because of the fact, oh dear, now he's going to find Dieska with the pistol, and this round is beginning up. There we go. Vexed will take round 4 in a much more dominating fashion. Wow.
Yeah, that is just at that point, that's just Vexed showing off their gun skill, their just skill superiority here, and uh the 3-1 half here on defense is huge for Vexed. They are now locking themselves into a very favorable attack half, even if you go, you know, 3-3 or something in these last two rounds. If you even out to 3-3, that's just huge
Mm.
for Vexed, as you can
As
see.
a defender on this map, getting a 3-3 half is it's a good half.
Oh yeah,
2-4, you're happy. It's fine.
even 2-4, you're happy. Yeah,
Yeah. But
and
3-1 down for Timber, this is a bad place to be. It's gonna, like we said before, it's gonna take away from their confidence, and it's gonna make playing the rest of this game even more difficult for them.
yeah, so
Now we
it's
were
really already on them to
we were talking about how Cav is a useless pick, but I don't actually think any other operator could have done that, purely because the main reason she was missed is because her silent steps stopped Jackal from tracking her. And that's most likely the reason she was able to get behind the bed undetected.
yeah, so it's definitely was useful there. There's not a ton, honestly, here too, by the way, to deal with Harris on the Clash, as well. Iska's gonna go
There we
down
go.
as well.
So,
That's a huge find too,
yeah,
off the
like we
back of
said,
Josh.
Vexed have been trying to do this aggressive spawn peak play all game, but finally they will merit a kill. And like I was saying earlier, we're in danger of Timber just going 4-1 down, 5-1 down, because currently Vex have all this momentum, but Brainless will refrag onto Pat.
Yeah, the refrag is coming out, as now the Lion Pings do. At least Brainless is able to win his gunfight and stay up. He is the only operator right now that can counter out the Clash play from Harris. So he needs to really stay up, or else this Clash is gonna cause some problems for Timber. But
We'll just have to see
now
how effective they can
equally,
be. Because if you can deal with the Clash well, you effectively just make this round 4v3 in the favor of Vex, but 2 quick kills from Vex and a third make this a 1v4, and the final kill from Usus, making this a near flawless round again for Vex, just showing pure domination in this defensive half.
yeah, near flawless is great showing here for Vex. They have now had a flawless and now a near flawless round, but they are really just showing up on this map here, and they're showing how strong and how comfortable they are on coastline, and they're really just wiping the floor with Timber, as I fully expect at this point them to just roll the attack. Like I said, the last time we saw them here, they had a 5-1 attack side, and now they're showing at worst a 4-2 defense side, or at
But
best a 5-1 again.
this
So,
is very obviously an exceptional half from Vex, no matter how the next round goes. They've secured a 4-2, and a 4-2 defensive half is amazing.
yeah, especially on defense on coastline, I think it just goes to show. I mean, it's already showing. This is just such an uphill battle in this one for Timber. This is so tough for them to totally win out everything here, and
Yeah, an
they just really
interesting,
got to work.
really interesting pick. And sorry, is that 3 ADS's placed next to the bomb?
Probably.
Yep,
I really think. Oh yeah, that's all them out in the open.
yeah,
At
yeah.
this point, I think really Vexed is.
Having fun.
Yeah, having fun is definitely the way to put it. They
They're
are
having a good
not
time.
really taking this one seriously, all that seriously. So they're just
Um,
trying to. Honestly, it seems like they're trying to give Timber as many openings as they can, and they're still locking this one out.
I think a really interesting couple picks is Jaeger and the Wamai. I mean, if we actually look at the start, okay, all right, Josh, you are dead. That's the Vigil dead. As he said, not taking this 100% seriously, that he will fall very easily to the attackers, just jumping out a window, almost wasting his life. Uh, Shocking it wasn't nomaded.
Yeah, very aggressive play from Josh. So that's a good start for Timber here to try and grasp their way back into things. As another frag from Brainless in a peculiar spot, not really always that expected, but um,
It's
this
really
is
interesting play coming out from Vex. They appear to just be peeking and getting punished. I think that's the way to put it right now. And as you can see from the well played in chat, I think Vex are comfortable right now. They're happy with their place. They're just chilling. They're here to have some fun, and I think that really shows from their current play style.
yeah, it definitely does show that
Oh,
they're able to just play aggressively and comfortably. The first Lion Ping is going to come out as now the defenders here in Pink Bar are going to be
this
pressured
is
out.
gonna
Uzus is taken down to half health. He still has 3
very
jammers in his pocket.
see what. All right, definitely. I'm gonna continue using the word interesting. The smoke canister will come out from the Jackal, and he will smoke bang Harris. That's the Wamai down, and just uses some Dowie in the 2v1. Dowie, I believe, is coming down white stairs. Yes, he is. Gonna be coming for that main lobby flank. He's not even gonna find one. He's not gonna. That.
Wow.
How about that?
That is definitely a confidence boost really for Timber here. While it was pretty apparent that oh,
Oh
fan wave,
wow.
nice. While it was apparent that Vexed wasn't really doing the most there, um they just it's still a confidence boost to get a nice flawless round in the bag for yourself to come into this attack side, as now we're either seeing a Kali or a Nook held.
It's gonna.
So
It's gonna be something that I think Timber need to take that flawless round and really, really use it in this next half because they need to be aggressive here. They need to show that they can play that aggressive spawn peak style. Otherwise, I think we're looking at a flop.
yeah, nothing at all against Timber here, but if we just see a 7-2 or a 7-3, I'm not at all super shocked here. So,
So that Cali,
yeah.
the only place Cali's all has been said before. Cali's a very situational operator. We can both agree.
Mm.
She can be good, but you have to be very specific with where you use her. And for ruins onto billiards, sure, but for kitchen, no way. This is a wasted pick here.
Yeah, as I'm thinking about it, the only thing I can really think of is a vaguely okay angle from a service all the way through, or you sit in blue bar and open up and hold the long angle, or from courtyard as well. But yeah, I mean, there's just no real angles for Harris to hold all that much. Also, hearing that rifle now, Timber's gonna know that the Cali is in play and gonna be trying to pressure out the pink bar players, and we'll see what she can offer this attack
I
here.
suppose these angles are okay. Um, maybe gonna be trying to find that Jaeger, but the Jaeger knows this is a Cali. If he's all right, he's just gonna peek her. All right, why wouldn't you? Yeah. If he is strategical, he won't be peeking this Cali because it's Cali. And he's gonna take 20 damage for his troubles there.
Yeah, he's down to just about 20 health or so. So he's in a really rough spot right now. But and without that dock, Timber is really going to be hurting for the HP here. But
So
now it's yeah,
something that we were talking about is wanting to see Timber get aggressive. We want to see Timber go for those opening picks. They will be able to find Josh on the Twitch. Obviously, not a massively huge pick because the Twitch isn't really doing all that much anyway. But it's a good way to get started in this round.
oh, keep talking.
We're going to see Ieska holding the long angle onto couches. He's going to find Harris as well. Taking down the Cali on the long angle. How about that? So we're gonna see the Legion of Carl Rocha here coming down these stairs. This could be a really huge play from him, as most of Vex appear to be on this kitchen door. Ieska's gonna find Pat as well, and the last one's Monty in sight. Dowie's gonna find Brainless. Dowie's equally gonna find Ieska, and now we're in a 2v2 as Jesus finds Valbo. The Legion peeking the Monty, gonna do some big damage. That is him down to 40 HP. Smoking Courtyard, spraying out onto Jackal. Jackal's also down to 10 HP for his trouble. XL going to be spraying out, takes down Dowie, just use us in this 1v2. He's going to find the Legion. Not the Legion, sorry. He's going to find that smoke. The Legion, however, going to be a huge issue for him with just 7 seconds left on the clock. He's going to have to try and find a place to plant. These Goos going to be coming in really clutch for Timber. The Fuser will start to go down, and Carl Roger just needs to deny this. The plant halfway down. And yeah, there we go. Headshot for Monty, takes around for Timber.
Yeah. Vex not really taking that one super seriously, but
It appears to have some playback issues.
yeah, our clean feed might have just gotten a bit.
Yeah. Is it fine after I refresh?
Well,
We'll be going to a schedule screen as our clean feed appears to have died.
so we'll have to keep you updated as things go on here. The clean feed did indeed die. At least right after the round ended. But yeah, it is currently going on further. So I suppose though we can talk a bit about what happened there. We're heading into the 8th round now. 4-3. We'll get back whenever we can.
So
And all in
I
all,
think
that wasn't a bad round from Timber.
yeah, it was a very strong round from Timber. It looked very convincing up until Dowie and users started to go off. They, to be fair to them, they made that a lot closer than it should have been. But the round was still Timber's. Timber just really showing they can defend this map, they can defend this site, but is it going to be enough? They're now on that defensive half. It's a really attacker-sided map, like we've been saying. So I think it's going to be difficult. Definitely difficult.
Yeah, it's really going to be a good bit of a struggle here. But at the same time, um, it should be. I think it's not out of the question that Timber can try and bring it back in some capacity. It's very obvious that Vexed isn't taking this the most seriously,
Yeah.
and they're really just doing whatever they can.
Have fun.
Yeah, yeah, they're just having fun, really.
They're
But
just chilling.
yeah,
And I think that that round shows that if they, sure, they can have fun. This obviously isn't their main priority, but they got to be careful because if they're not careful, we could see Timber getting one more round, 2 more rounds, and then all of a sudden Timber take the lead, and quickly Vex could be staring down match point. But it's obviously too soon to say that. They've only lost one round. We're going to have to see what Vex can bring out in the rest of this half.
yeah, um, it's very interesting. I don't know how long Vex is going to drag out this map. It's very obvious and very apparent from the prior rounds that they just they can roll this map and they're really just taking it as slow as they want and at their own pace, and they're just trying to have as much fun as possible with it all. But yeah, we're just not really seeing any urgency from them. They're not worried about losing right now. They're also not, I'd say they're not totally in a place where they have to worry about losing. Um Even though it is 4-3, that's a little close for a lot of teams. Um it just isn't a big worry here. So, I think we're going to be jumping in at round 8 as we get the lobby set back up. But I mean, from here, really, I think Timber should honestly just be playing back on their heels a bit. You know, not necessarily giving Vexed what they want, but rather just letting Vexed play into them. They're really currently letting Vex. They can just let Vex play aggressive and push in a lot.
Yeah, just let them get aggressive and punish them. It's that simple. Because if you're
Whew.
peeking around corners, whenever you peek around corners, you got to just punish it. You got to be punishing these guys that are just feeling like they can get aggressive and not be punished for it. Um, but also, we can't see Timber do what they did the first round and get passive again, because that's really easy to do.
Yeah, it is very easy for it. I mean, on one hand, it should be very easy for Vex to just roll through Timber here on the rest of this map, but also it should be pretty equally easy for Timber to just
Punish.
stomp out, yeah, to punish, stomp out whatever they can. But whew, excuse
We're
me.
just going to be waiting
Yeah.
for this lobby to get set back up, and I think a really significant part of that round was the choice to bring the Monty. The Monty didn't appear to be that useful because, sure, they managed to get into Kitchen, but they'd already lost too many players at that point. And when you're down in a 2v2 or 3v2, the Monty's no longer that useful. With a Monty, you need a solid support behind him to be picking up those kills when he runs into players. And he can scare players, like he's literally a moving steel wall. You just need those people to capitalize on what the Monty can do.
Yeah. So
Oh, this is so bad.
it was a very aggressive job from the Monty. He did create some problems inside of the site, but in the end, it just wasn't it wasn't enough. They just weren't able to convert it into a ton, and that's not at all a massive problem. It's just I feel like if Vex really wanted to play a Montaigne, they definitely would have played it more correctly.
Yeah. I think, like we said, they're having fun, you know?
Hmm.
Um, they're playing what they feel like, and I guess he felt like in the mood for a Monty, and it didn't go that well. So maybe we won't see it next time. And if we do, hopefully we play a little bit better because it's just a bit useless. I suppose the Legion obviously helped Timber out quite a lot. Oh no, we have time at Esports.
Yeah. I mean, there's just not a ton that we're looking into. Hopefully, uh, this is a good thing for Vexed, just because Timber is gonna be a bit slowed down on this start here, coming out of the break. Even though they were coming off of two big rounds, the flawless and then their defense win. So it's really on Timber again to my
I'm
brain is
so
melting for whatever
confused.
reason. It's really
Yeah,
on Timber here to carry on their momentum
yeah.
and keep up with everything.
They got to keep it going. They got to. I'll use the words take advantage of the sloppiness that Vexed are very obviously showing and bringing ops that aren't. Let's go with the word maybe not in the meta. The Cali and the Monty. Monty. Obviously, Monty can be done right. He's just not being done right. That's the thing here. And yeah,
Yeah.
time at esports, we will see it.
uh Timer Esports. They've undergone a name change, a brand change in the middle of the map, but
Like,
all is well.
so they're gonna go to double bars. Um, I think for a long time, double bars was considered the off-site of this map. But not even recently, for a long time now, it's been considered one of the best sites on the map. It's often taken over Penthouse, especially with the mirror ban on the board. And that will be the third site here for Timber. A second site, sorry, for Timber. So they are taking the site over Hookah Billiards.
Yeah, and I think on that, it's something to mention that we've seen uh hookah billiards start to fall out of play in its own way. Um, but
Do we have
also
more Uplay bugs?
there's all in all, it's been a lot more uh blue sunrise play coming out lately. So it's definitely been a lot more
Attackers
common
need
of
to
a
locate
sight.
and
I know
defuse bombs.
back in the day when Coastline used to play, and it really was basically an attacker defender, you know, round for round, more or less. Um, we saw a lot of
Attackers have
uh,
discovered the location of a bomb.
there wasn't a lot rather of blue and sunrise play, and if
No.
you happened to get here, it was kind of just like, okay, we kind of have a strat set up, but otherwise, for the most part, we're just going to
It's been
I
one of
don't
those
know, do
sites
whatever.
I feel like it's evolved with the game, It's a site that's changed it's changed
5 seconds left.
how it's played depending on what operators you have. If you have a mirror, you can
Attackers
change the site
objective
quite a
is to
bit.
defuse a bomb.
The shotguns, you can change how it's played as well. It's a site where there's a lot to work with, but you don't get a lot to begin with.
Yeah, so
You
we'll
have
have
to
to
make
see
it
how it
work.
works out here for
Uh,
for
so Vex
Timber.
gonna be bringing that Monty again. We get a great view of the underground of coastline.
Yeah, so there's also the Goyo is interesting. We've seen him drop out of play as of late, but this is just a very common Vexed lineup, minus the Montaigne somewhat, but
Yeah,
um this
maybe
is just
put in
usually
a
what. Oh my
Hibana
god, no.
instead. What
No
are you
way.
doing, Exile? You're just gonna capitalize so easily on that. A ridiculous amount of sloppiness there from Exile, and Valva will fall to Dowie. Maybe that long rehost is just it's killed Timber. That's
Yeah,
some really sloppy play. Losing players like it's no one's business.
I
Um,
mean it's
it's not over.
really at
The
this
round is
point.
not over. So this site you can kind of control the site from the floor.
Yeah, at this point, it's just Vex really taking control of the round, and this is what I was expecting them to do coming out of this one, but also just in general what I wanted them to do. Um, they just need to take this more seriously, just play back on what they're used to doing, and just really shut Timber out of this one, not even give them an opportunity here.
This
Iska's
hack
going to be
can be
looking for
very
something,
dangerous.
but
Yeah.
yeah, he's not gonna find anything just yet. He's gonna see. I mean, the Nomad. We can see the Nomad there. He can't, thanks to the all the silhouettes. But
That's a
it's
huge risk. If he drops down and we don't know if there's an air jab there or not, I'm not too sure. But if he drops down and there's an air jab and there's not an air jab, this could be a round changing play.
yeah, that could be pretty big from Iska, as there are two operators over there But nope,
Okay.
it seems like Vex knows he's there. Good
Oh,
find and a
Roger,
shutout. Flawless round.
wow. Just like that again, the execute happening almost out of nowhere from Vexed. It's felt like some of these rounds where suddenly one kill, then two, and then the round's over. Sorry, are we up to like 4 flawless rounds now? I feel like, is it 4?
3, which
30.
is also still though that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of flawless rounds, a lot of back and forth between these two teams. And so far, Timber, I'll give it to them. They've not looked awful. They have looked okay on a lot of these rounds. And they are showing that they are a good team. But obviously, against a team like Vexed, they are always going to struggle to keep up. Vexed are a fantastic team, one of the top teams in Tier 3.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as
Yeah,
many bombs
and
as they can.
I think you had mentioned right previously about Vexed and their really storied history and stuff. Showing up at the Prem ESL Premiership, the UK based tournament where they think
Yep.
they placed second.
Yep, second. Beating
just
out
behind-
Fizz, who are a hugely respected team as well. Yeah, they already made a name for themselves that season in Prem.
Yeah, and I mean they're not
10
at
seconds
all
remaining.
to be messed around with anything.
5 seconds to
They
go.
they're just a really solid looking team, and
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
obviously they have stuff to work on. Every team does, but you know there's no reason they shouldn't just shut this one out. I think the only reason we've seen Timber get a couple of these rounds is because Vex has been messing around. Honestly, I thought, you know, if they just took a couple of these rounds seriously, it would have been a
Oh,
7-1 or so. But
that pre-fire through the wall onto Exile? I think it might be. It appears that Timber have a guy in master bedroom or penthouse. That's Carl Roger, and it's a strange place to be for a Sunrise blue bar defense. Josh has managed to get himself all the way inside kitchen. Last round we saw him pick up 2 kills, which closed out the round from this position. It's obviously a very strong position for this site, effectively splitting the sites in 2. Hopefully Valba will be a lot more aware of the Monty in office this time.
yeah, but I mean, maybe Eustace is going to be more useful this round, I'd say. He didn't really see a lot. I mean, obviously getting the pick onto Exile is massive early on, but
Ooh, Exile taking a lot of
still,
damage.
yeah,
Oh.
and getting aggressive. Carl Rogers going to fall. Eustace is going to find another frag. Exile goes down as well. Iska was taken down and very aggressive still is Brainless. He's going to get taken down as well. It's just up to Valber. And this could be another flawless lockout here. And it is.
Vex, they look untouchable right now. I think we are very rapidly barreling towards a 7-3, if not a 7-4. Vex have guaranteed themselves the point, I believe.
Yeah.
And we either have to play all 12 rounds and see a draw, or Timber or Vex are going to take this.
Yeah, this is really just looking locked out, I think, for Vex. 2 flawless rounds in a row really says it. I don't think that's at all a problem on Timber's defense setup there. It's looking not bad, honestly, but they are just really
They're
rolling
outclassed.
right now.
Yeah, they're outclassed right now. It's like I said, it's a slippery slope. You lose a couple rounds, and suddenly it almost seems unstoppable, and then that gets in your head. And here we are. We're at 6-3, 1 round away. Vex, to be fair to them, have looked fantastic in this half, and you know they have lost. They have lost that 1 round, but it is a attacker-started map, and so far they've only lost one of their attacks in comparison to losing
5 seconds
two
left.
defenses. So I think that shows that they might even be a better defensive attacking team
Attackers
on
are
this map than defensive.
the bomb.
Yeah, not at all surprised though that they are more comfortable on the attack. So it just goes. A lot of teams, I would say, start off more comfortable on attack just because it's weird because you can pivot around more than you can on defense.
Yeah, you have a lot
Just
more flexibility.
yeah, but whereas defense you have to mold based on how the attack forces you to.
Which is
Whereas the
different.
attack can create its own openings and such.
Yeah, it's very different to most maps where the defenders sort of set the pace. And normally you're dealing with, the attackers are reacting to what the defenders are doing, but Kosan is a rare exception to that.
So far, we've only gotten a little bit of action. Not
Yeah, it appears to
a
one of
ton.
the around, but it's on the other half. Brainless though, going down to Harris. Valbo refrags onto users with the C4. And that is that shit down. Could be significant for those Legion mines in the later round. Obviously, they're not doing a massive amount of damage, but they still can deny a plant.
Yeah, but that is the huge frag. I'd take a Thatcher for a Maestro really any day, especially with the lineup that Timber has brought out. And Pat finds Iska. At least Iska or Pat's gonna get refragged here by Carl Roger. Carl Roger's looking for another, but Josh is gonna find Valber as well. And now it's just Exile and Carl Roger here, but the plant's coming down as well from Dowie.
And Exile's gonna get killed on the attempt to stop that plant. Or at least not killed, he is downed. And now it's a 1v3. The guarantee of the kill coming out from Josh. One on desk will get taken down by Carl Roger on the double kill. Diffuser plant in service. Does he know? No, he doesn't. The long angle from Zofia. Closing out the map for Vexed. 7-3.
Yeah, that's very, very solid from Vexed. As I mean, we saw. I wouldn't call it shaky.
Comfortable.
It was close, obviously 4-3 at one point, but then once it came down to it, I mean, Vexed lost two people over the last 3 rounds, or three rather. They just looked so solid once they finally took things seriously and locked it out there. They didn't, you know, they just looked like they were in control the whole way. And I think it really looked like the way that the map should have gone the whole time. Obviously, on the defense, um, Vexed just was so solid and so in there. And they just made Timber look, even when they're messing around, bringing out Capcan and Frost and the last one, Cav. Just a lot of odd operators being brought out. Um, they even made those rounds not look super absurd. And yeah, it's just all solidly in favor of Timber, or not Timber, Vex. So it should have ended a lot earlier, I think, than 7-3, probably 7-1. But still, that 7-3 is nothing to scoff at. And it's the points that, like we were saying before, that Vex needed to get second. Or even first place, rather, not second.
Yeah, they only need. To be fair, they do need both wins here if they want to take that first place off of Revenge. And currently it looks like they might be going towards that. But obviously, Border's coming up next. Border, like I said, very strong map in the past for Timber, so we'll have to just see what they can show us.
Yeah. So once again, honestly, if we see those same bands, by the way, the Ying, Capital, Mira, Echo, I wouldn't be at all surprised. I think on the attack, Ying and Capitao are both very strong on border.
Mm. Another thing that I would like to mention is sometimes you see teams banning Thermite on this map. Banning the Thermite makes the attack, and they've just. Oh, I thought the Nomad. Right, it's Ying. Ying again. Not that shocking, if I'm being honest. Vex just don't want to play Ying, and that's fair enough. Ying is currently not in a great state.
Yeah, I'd say not in a great state in the sense of obviously balance wise, she's very strong now that she's gotten her smokes back. Uh but yeah, she is very strong, and the Capitao has made it through, which is nice for the attacks, but we'll see a usual Thatcher ban. We didn't see very much Thatcher play at all on the last map. But yeah, I mean, all in all, these bans are shaping up to be pretty normal. Probably Mira is going to come out from
Yeah,
Vex, and I mean, it's just pretty normal, I think. So, what will it
we'll
be?
see. Yep, the mirror not gonna make it through. The armory wall mirror. Probably one of the most hated mirrors in the game. That mirror going all the way through CC. I hate it. It's just shouldn't exist.
Yeah, it's definitely oppressive, and I think even too, in NA's amateur scene where I do, obviously, most are all my uh casting. Um, I've seen some weird setups from a lot of teams, so it's definitely just a lot of teams will preference ban Mira to, like we were saying earlier, just because of how weird some of these holds can be and how obnoxious it can be to hold it off an attacker, but or the defense, yeah, the attackers, my bad. So a warden is held here by Yuzus, which is pretty interesting, particularly because there was
Attackers
no
need to locate and defuse
Capitao
the
or
bomb.
anything shown by Timber.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
these picks that just don't make a lot of sense currently. Um, for example, the Wamai Jaeger pick last map, Timber weren't playing throwables, so I think it's interesting is the word I'll use. Obviously, with the likes of the Buck, we could see flashbangs, and I guess the Warden could be to counter flashbangs, but we just have to see where he's played.
10 seconds left before insertion.
and I think a big point though is obviously it's all flashbangs and stuff that he
Attackers must
denies.
locate and defuse the bomb.
And flashbangs and smokes rather. So the Zofia doesn't really do anything to him, or rather, he doesn't really do anything about the Zofia. So that's a very, very big pick there. And this is actually a really old hold here by Vexed, which is interesting. Something
Yeah,
that was popularized back at I think Raleigh by Empire specifically.
I mean, this map has got a couple weird long angles, and yeah, no, Pat, you're not going to hit the head there. An aggressive piece of play that it's not going to net him anything, but he hasn't lost HP, so why not?
Yeah, no reason not to take it there, but it's no harm, no foul, nothing done bad on the side of Vexed, and it's going to be up to Pat though to lock down this break room side as well as the yeah, just the break room side over there, as he's going to be trying to do his best with the support of Dowie, as they're going to try and keep triple wall held firm, but a
Jesus.
nice C4 from Yuzus is able
And
to confirm the first frag.
that's your Buck gone, and with the Maverick on the board, I'm guessing Timber's main plan is to Maverick trick the breach. Something that I've been seeing quite a lot of recently in the slightly more amateur scene. Valber's going to get one onto Harris, though, the refrag for Timber. That's going to cost him a good 70 HP.
Yeah, so a good find there by Valber at the least to get the frag right back, and getting the smoke down is massive, really. That is with no Maestro and no more C4. Well, there's just a C4 on Dowie, but all in all, I mean, it's just a huge find just to get rid of 1/3 of the denial.
Oh,
Maverick
that's
will fall to pad. A nice shot there by the
see what I
doc,
mean about that Buck not being on the board. It's just meaning they're just confused almost with what to do once this breach has been made soft.
Oof.
Defender has left the area
Juiced
of
up and ready to go. Uses jumps out the window. Josh is also able to pick up Iska, and it's just Carl Roger. At least he gets Dowie, and now he gets the Warden. But he's in a 1-on-2 here. Has to find those 2 frags and make it work for himself. He has not much time at all as well. Only 20 seconds. Pat's gonna overstim himself, juice himself up for this one. Swing out through the rotate there. Clean up Vexed's first round.
And the first round, they want to start this map in a positive way, and they have.
And it's also pretty nice. Obviously it's 1 round. It doesn't mean the world, but we've seen borders start to even out more for the attack. It's definitely not been super defender sided anymore, and that usually happens with a lot of these older maps too. They start to get a bit stale. Things don't really work out that well, and it gets pretty predictable, and there's not a ton you can do. Plus, border is just so tiny. There's not a
Mm.
ton you can do that hasn't been done already. So, we really have to
defenders.
see
Protect your bombs from being defused by
what
attackers.
Timber can make do now, because again, it's not super attacker sided like we see on Consulate, or not Consulate, my bad, Coastline, but it's also, you know, it's not where we see a lot of defensive rounds anymore, especially on standard holds like Timber just had to go up against.
Yeah, and I think a really significant part of the reason that Timber lost that round is
10 seconds left.
that pick onto Buck. While sure they have the Sophia, once Maverick got the wall, he kind of just stood confused, waiting for the Sophia to come over.
Attackers
And
protect your team to defuse a
I think
bomb.
that's why he got dropped. And once the Maverick was dropped, you know, you've gone from a good situation, it's just getting worse, and then that's when Vex pick up momentum.
Yeah, this is really Vex has been very momentum based this season. I think they've been able to, particularly when they're winning, more so when they are just in general, but it's when they're winning these rounds very easily and these matches, they are just able to swarm everything out. As it seems like Brainless was having a problem there.
Did he get the cam?
Fast peeking the cam. I would assume so, considering that he's coming to Buck, but
Let's hope so.
he's been trying to fast peek a camera like it's gonna bite him or something.
It shoots back, man. Come on.
Bomb located by
I guess I missed that part of the patch notes with Void Edge coming out that the cameras now have guns. I didn't realize we were playing Valorant, but that one's
the
coming up now.
It's a fairly quick take of the top floor. You still have got these presents, the Bandit and the Jaeger, the German brothers of Josh and Pat. Obviously not actually German, but you get my point. Holding on to Armory. And this is a huge part of this site. You know, if you have this top floor control, it gives you a lot of things you can do as an attacker, and keeping control of it as a defender, you can deny a lot of positions and plants.
Yeah, so plus how long that Vex has been holding this off, they are getting so much pressure and so much time. A nice
Ooh.
shot from Josh right after Yusu's picked up the first frag there onto Valber. At least Brainless is able to refrag onto Pat and leave Josh on his lonesome up here. But still, it's 2 minutes into the round. Josh has not been taken out, and he's two are dead on the side of Timber, as even though they're even it up. Brainless and Carl Roger are pretty hurt, even though Dowie is as well.
I think the really significant part of that little fight upstairs is the loss of Valba on the Nomad. Without that Nomad, you're lacking. If he didn't get those air jabs placed, you are lacking air jabs on covering your flanks, and that could be really significant later on when they're trying to get a plant.
Yeah, now at least the Buck is able to start creating pressure, but no hard breach with your just running the Maverick and him being taken down already is gonna put
15 seconds to go.
Timber in such a rough spot for these last 10 seconds as they have to suicide rush really in. And I don't think there's any possible way they win this one out. Harris is going to clean up Iska, as now Dowie is going to take a shotgun blast and take down Carl Roger, all left to Brainless up above. And
Operators, you have
it
run
is
out
a
of time.
nice lockout in the last couple seconds for Vex to take that one.
I think Timber lost that round when it hit 1 minute and you still had that bandit playing in Sandwich. Sure, they managed to clear him out eventually, but without the top floor control for so long, they really struggled to set up a push. And when they finally went for the push, it was weak and uncoordinated.
Yeah, without a doubt. They really got held up in that office's archives area, and they just really rolled. So, or not rolled. They got rolled rather.
Yeah,
Um, they
just
were
Attackers need to
stalled out for
locate and
2 minutes,
defuse as many bombs as
and
they can.
that was just rough.
yeah, running into those crossfires, being held by Vex, and for a team like Vex, they've clearly got the gun skill. They're not going to be losing those gunfights, especially crossfires.
Yeah, so this is interesting too, I think. Custom Supply has seen a big drop in play as of late in favor of Bathroom Tellers. I think since Invitational, G2 had brought it out back then,
5 seconds left.
and it saw a big spike really in play thereafter, but
Attackers' objective is to
now
locate a bomb and defuse it.
we're not seeing Timber, or rather Vex, my bad, go there, as they're instead opting back for the classic Custom Supply. And I think a big part of why we see Bathroom Tellers is just because there's so much you have to clear. You have to clear the offices. Oh, okay. Users.
Well-
He ran out and found Maverick.
He made that
That's
work,
fine, I
and
guess.
hard breach. Well, you don't need it, I guess. They're gonna have to make it work without it.
Yeah, I guess Usus doesn't really care that I'm trying to explain something because they're on a completely different site. But, oh well. But yeah, there's just so much to clear on Bathroom Tellers. And
Oof,
okay,
that is
that's fine.
that's really unfortunate.
I guess I don't have to explain anything.
Well, the Legion with the SMG will explain it for you, I suppose.
Yeah,
And
so
this is
could be. This is just aggression from Vex. They're just taking over Timber and really taking over this map, even though we have said many times this is definitely a favored map by Timber, and they've played it often. And wow, coming right off that C4, Harris is able to shut down Iska, take down Diffuser for himself, and now this round is all in control of Vex to try and flawless out, or even just in general get this flawless site rotation.
I think we could be seeing one of those famous flawless rounds for Vex if we're not careful. Obviously, this round is far from over. Well, I say far. It's definitely a bad situation for Timber, and not being helped as more damage goes out onto Valba. Ooh.
Brainless was trying to make it work there for a second, but soon enough, Pat had enough. He's got the double kill on the end of the round for himself. And he locks that one out, even though it was a nice shot from Brainless there at the end. My bad.
He gave it a good try, picked up 2 pretty big kills. If he'd taken down Pat as well, we were definitely looking at a winnable position.
Yeah, it was definitely close to winnable. At least closer than any of these previous rounds have been. But still, it's a lockout for Vex so far. They're able to shut that round down as Now Yuzus is pulling out a new operator, Ella here, that we have seen a bit more of. I think with the drop of Void Edge, she got a big gun buff that was desperately
El
needed to the recoil, even
and
if it's been nerfed
also
thereafter.
the I want to say the introduction into play of the shotgun has increased her pick rate. Obviously, Ella's shotgun, very situational, but as an offender, you can make those situations for yourself and make close angles where a shotgun is really, really favorable, and especially one like Ella's with a lot of fire rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. I mean, everyone knows how much of a monster that gun was on release.
Yeah.
You could stick whatever attachments you wanted on it. It didn't matter. It had no recoil. It had 50 rounds. It was just... There was entire people who have said multiple times they'll never get to the elo they were at on release Blood Orchid or whatever when Ella dropped.
It was just... In my opinion, it was too good. I mean, obviously, we can all agree it was too good. Was it fun as hell? Yeah.
Yeah.
We all had a lot of fun playing with that gun. I think some people miss it. Even now, though, it does feel a little bit... And it's useless barricading in Josh. No, he's not. Alright. It's a
It definitely was a very... I think everyone understood it was very fun, but very strong even is an understatement for it.
Maybe the most broken anything's ever been in the game. Other than Invisible Clash, of course.
Yeah. Invisible Clash that was also always a fun one. There's been a good number of things that have been talked about so far, but, you know, I think Release, Ella, and various other things are normally at the top of the list, but early on, it's not Ella to find the first frag, it's Josh.
Josh has been a player that's actually started the kills a lot in this game, and he's going to miss Exile as he throws a goo. Could have been very unfortunate.
It's actually pretty funny so far. Josh has been involved over the two maps. He's been involved in 6 opening frags. All 6, it's either been it's always been Josh and Eska.
Wow.
He is 4 and 2 on opening frags, so he has 4 kills, 2 deaths. But they've all been on with Eska. And very aggressive. That's Pat jumping out looking for more, but not going to find any after he found Brainless there, as he's looking for even more. And he's going to get punished for it.
About time. Users will drop Exile with that ridiculous Scorpion. It's a bad situation for Timber. They haven't achieved a lot so far in the round, and they are down on time and man count. But don't get me wrong, this is far from impossible. Now it's closer to impossible.
Well, yeah, this is very doomed for Carl Roger. He's at least going to find Dowie, one of the full health members, as now Josh is looking for him. Nice headshot quickly onto Yuzus. But this is still far from winnable, as, yep, right behind the Zofia, Josh is able to continue the perfect streak here.
He got the first and he got the last.
Yeah, good shutout there from Josh.
I think something that Vexed are doing very well right now is it doesn't feel like Timber are getting any map control. Sure, the rounds are close, but the objective is never what makes it close. It's always the kills. I don't think Timber have even attempted a plant yet.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I don't even think they've gotten close enough to the site to attempt any plant. These rounds are going about 2 minutes or so, or even longer at the 2 minutes at the least, and they are just getting stopped up so early on. So it's definitely not looking the best for Timber on this attack.
Yeah, this very aggressive, not allowing Timber, literally just saying no to Timber every time they try to get into the building. It's got to be getting into Timber's head. You know, they're struggling to even win the simplest early gunfights, and that's going to start playing on them a lot, I think, going into the rest of this game.
Yeah, particularly just like you said. I
10
mean,
seconds to go.
it's so rough knowing every single time you're going in somewhere or you're just trying to push what you normally push, that there's probably going to be a body there from Vex. It's so awful and obnoxious. As at least getting shot is Dowie trying to get aggressive on
One
the
cheeky
trying to
bullet.
protect Yuzus, but I mean, he
It-
is Doc. He's just going to heal it back up.
It feels like right now, Timber are letting Vex set the level of play. Vex are kind of just going, well, we don't care what you guys do, we're just going to run around and see what happens. And that's working really well for them currently. Eski's been dropped to, what, 40 HP?
Something like that. Yeah. So, he got in a gunfight with Harris as the AUG rattled off a bit there, and now it's going to keep rattling off. It's this time upstairs, Harris and Josh instead of
Ooh,
Pat
where
and
on
the
Earth?
Jaeger. And nice shot by Iska. Able to snag that one onto the Wamai. No more discs. I think he'd get 1 or 2 more. So he's done some use for himself already. But now it's just up to Josh all alone upstairs. And I wouldn't say it's doomed already, but it is definitely a lot of time that Josh has to waste all on his lonesome here.
As you say that, he is wasting a lot of time. He's done a lot, to be fair. They might be down a man count, but Timber they've got some control. This is the first round where Timber have looked like they are making this a game. But they've still not got that much control of sight. And with 2 defenders upstairs, even their vertical play positions are at risk.
Yeah, Dowie's going to pick up 1 there onto Iska. At least refrag back onto Brainless. And still, it's, a minute left. And Timber haven't even pushed into this locker side. They are holed up in the offices. Stalled out all on his lonesome by Josh, who isn't even found. He's been pushed into a safe spot here. And there are 2 drones on the side of Timber right now. Both are in the pockets of Brainless and Carl Roger. And that is just huge for the defense or the attack. No, for the defense. My bad. Is Pat with 2? He's gonna get pushed now by the Zofia. At least confirmed there. But that is huge. 2 frags, both on a Brainless and Exile. As now Valvarez taken the upstairs at least, but he can't do anything with that. And now Yuzus is firmly watching. Josh somehow got all the way around. The drop is not going to be denied by the castle, but no plant is coming down. Carl Roger only just now starting it up. Josh is going to be held off, and Timber somehow win out the round.
Whoa, alright. The huge whiff. Whiffing the gunfight and in the end whiffing the round. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, absolutely. There was... I agree. I did not see that one coming at all myself. That was just a huge round there by Timber, able to even come back there after Pat really tried to lock it out. So we'll end the half on Events Workshop once again, and we'll have to see. This is a much different hold than what we were seeing from their first Vents defense. They locked out upstairs with Pat and I think Harris again on the Bandit and Jaeger, but now we keep seeing this Wamai pick.
I think something that Timber did really well that round is Vexed both times on this site kept control of Armory until very late in the round. The Armory control was there the whole time, but the significant thing was that Timber just went, alright, you can keep Armory, but we're just going to make vertical play in Archives, and that's our plan to take site. which is why it was so much closer, and in the end, resulted in the win.
10 seconds left before insertion.
It was definitely a really good
5
adaptation
seconds to go.
from Timber, and I think that's really something we just haven't seen from them.
Locate
They haven't really been adapting to how this defense is holding out from Vexed, and instead oftentimes they're really playing into how Vexed is holding. So obviously that's not at all a bad play, but somehow
How?
Usis is able to pick up Eska.
That is ridiculous.
Why a Maestro is ever able to get the opening frag in the first 30 seconds outside
And
of a rush.
Aeska is the opening death again.
Yeah.
That is... it doesn't bode well for the rest of the game.
So, Eska has not been doing so hot either on his opening picks and stuff. He's gotten a good number as now Josh also finds Exile and Carl Roger. This round is already looking done and dusted. Not
Vex
right
playing
off
with
the
the
attack,
momentum.
but yeah.
And it's just kill after kill for Vex. Timber did find a way back in onto Josh, but Valbert in the 1v4, he's only got 1 minute 40, and these defenders aren't going to let him sit out. They're going to try and find him. And he's going to run away. He's just going to take a quick timeout, hiding behind this thing. Do you know the correct call out for where he is? I guess he's near bus.
I think it is a bus. Bridge thing? It's under AC, but I don't know.
Peak.
I mean, this is really what Timber needs. Well,
He is calling
I
for
guess
them
this
to
is
peak.
what Timber needs. That they need Vex to be peeking into this. He's
Oh,
gonna
whoa.
find as he's looking for more. It's gonna be Pat baiting out shots. He's not gonna find him. Oh!
They
Looking
call
around
him
the corner.
insane.
Oh, Pat. Oh,
Is
Pat.
this really about to be... If they lose this round now, this will be so ridiculous. It's possible, you know, Usus is outside the building. Valve's got stuff to work with here. He will be seen on the cam and tactically decide not to shoot it.
bomb located by attackers.
I'm sure there's a reason for that.
15 seconds remaining.
I mean, oh, there it is.
Main
Shut
lobby, I
down
guess?
From behind.
Yep. Well, he gave it a good try. But Vex, in another dominating round, will make it 5-1 for a dominating half.
Yeah. That is just all in favor of Vex as they're looking to slam it away. But yeah, I mean, that was just at the very least we can say Vex was nice enough to offer into what Valber had asked. He did say peak, and Vex did peak, so that's at the least there. But yeah, it's been a very one-sided affair already.
We'll
All
see.
in all, it's just been a one-sided affair, both maps.
As many bombs as they
We'll
can.
see Yuzus on the Monty now. It's a pick that last map didn't really... It didn't net them anything, really. Last map it wasn't working, but obviously border for the East office take, that Monty could be really significant. And in my opinion, it just looks like last map Vex were having fun, and this map they're here to get it over with. They have places to be.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting lineup, I think, coming out from Vex. We don't really
5 seconds to
see
go.
the Montaigne or the Lion as much, nor do we see really the Thermite. We see oftentimes, unless it's, you know, mandated, Oftentimes instead they choose to prefer the Maverick, and a lot of teams like Vexed in their playstyle are starting to do this, where
Bomb located by
if they have a usually a Hibana player instead of a Thermite player, just because they're more frag focused rather than just outright support focused, they've been shifting over to Maverick just because the gun is very comparable to the Type 89. It just happens to have more bullets. And already,
Whoa.
wow, already Jesus is fast in. He's going to
This
start to
is-
get pressured out.
Gonna use the
Smoke
word
comes
interesting
down and-
again. He's
Oh!
gonna-
Ooh!
All right. Okay, he gets shut down, but they are not messing around. The plant's already going down, but he will be denied by the smoke. Harris going down to about 50 HP after that plant attempt. This appears to have stalled out for Vex.
Yeah, I think at this point they're really waiting to get the smokes out of the way. Losing Yuzus is kind of big, but they must know that a C4 is waiting for them. The shotgun in front of the door too from below is pretty big, but I think that's actually Valber is downstairs. Iska is gonna be down to support him at the least, but this is really bad for Timber, is now smokes are gonna keep coming down and shot from the doorway. Josh is going to clear up one. He's going to get shot in the back, though, by Valber. If Valber acts on this information, if he knows Josh came up metal stairs. But he doesn't.
Josh in
There's no
such a good
clue.
position. Valber, what are you doing?
attackers recovered the diffuser.
In the 1v2 now. Such a missed opportunity, and his teammate will suffer for it. His XR goes down. The player on half will be in that lion with the 417, a big issue right now.
Oof. Interesting that wasn't a headshot, as he's almost about to clean up Dupat, and he does actually. So this is extremely winnable here for Valber. He knows the thermite is outside. He's going to have to rappel on up, and he's just waiting for this one. He's going to finish off the alliance so that they don't know when the call is coming out, and he sees the rappel. He's going to vault out but miss it, and that is another point secured for Vex, as now Timber really has to make this half work, and really work in this half, rather, to try and just get a single point out of this.
Yeah, I think it's a really significant 6-1. It shows absolute domination, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think if Timber get a point here, it would require such a throw from Vex. I don't even think it's possible now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think part of what do you call it? Part of the thing that has been working so well for Vexed is that Timber just isn't able to really refrag here, and they're gonna have to do so much just to get more rounds on rounds where Timber has, or rather Vex just seems so dominant. It's a lot here to ask for Timber and a lot to put on them, and they just have, there's no way around it. They have to do so much in this round, and these next few rounds.
They are mostly playing for pride now. At 6-1 down, obviously their comms are going to be, comeback time, but I think it's going to take some real magic from Vex to come back in this position.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound doomed or like I'm putting down Timber, because, again, obviously we've said it many times, this was an uphill battle the whole way, but it is looking so rough for them to try and come out on top of this one in any concept, in any possible way. And we keep saying it, but it's the truth. There's just so much they have to do over these coming up to 5 rounds just to secure a singular point. And it's such a mental drain every single round seeing that match point pop up, because every single round
A bomb has been
there's
located.
the possibility that it's just over in that one. So, do you really want to? It might even start nagging at you. Do we even really want to keep going? Do we even really
Yeah.
want to fight for this?
The thing is, it's hard to get into the mentality of a comeback when at the most you can have a draw. It appears we have some observer
No,
lag here again. We
not
might
again.
even miss out on this last round. Oh no, we're back. We are
We're
back.
good. We're good. Just a little bit of lag. We're good. Valber's
Okay.
gonna find, I think, Pat and someone else, but oh no! Oh, little lag. Hold
Yeah,
on.
we're back. We're back. We're back.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Pat took a lot of damage somewhere.
All right. So with this player in vents, it gives the attackers the ability to clear out half wall and potentially the player that sits by the bomb a lot easier. For example, in smoke, hiding in a small office, he is at risk from below, but Pat getting taken out by Valba.
Yeah, really good find from the Valkyrie there, playing aggressively on his cams. Able to find the buck down below. As now that is the second opening frag of the match here for Timber to lock down for themselves. But already Harris is going to start to work on this plant. Josh is going to find Valber as well,
Oh,
as now Carl Roger goes down. It's all up to Iska all of a sudden.
and he
And
won't
taken down on
find
the
it.
flank. Dowie rather, my bad, locks out the 8th round here. The first
GG.
round to not go the way of the opening fragging team. And yeah, GG's come out 7-1, 7-3 for Vex. Not
And
at all a tough one.
that will take them into the number 1 position. Very successful. It's honestly it's shocking that they had such a convincing border in comparison to Coastline. Vexed were a team that I was expecting to do worse on border than on Coastline, but they really proved me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's something to be said. It